Hi, Juli.a.strology here. I do have a mic, but I feel like it's a little counterproductive because it's probably just gonna pick up like when my chair squeaks or if like a bus goes by outside or something. So I'm trying it. Let's see if it works. If you hate it and you're like, I don't know, get a different chair. That's probably the best option for me because it's gonna drive me nuts. Okay. Sorry for pointing it out if it wasn't going to drive you nuts, and it is now. The point of this is it's been a while since I really made a video. I've been having some technical difficulties. First, it was like my editing software just like wouldn't work for me anymore. So I tried to get another one, and then I didn't have enough storage on my computer. And then, yeah, so I got a new computer, and now we're going to see how I got my old editing software back. Finally, I'm so excited. And I kind of remembered how to set up the mic for it, so we'll see how this goes. But since I haven't been able to upload videos on this channel or my music channel, I've been just doing stream of conscious, unedited, daily almost vlogs, just on another channel. So, yeah. The most recent one I did, I was talking about some reasons I don't really talk to my mom anymore, and I brought up this diary entry that I did, and I talked about this channel and how I've been astrologizing my journals, and I was like, this would be a good entry to do. And where I left off on the old ones, it felt like the story was kind of complete, because when I went further back, because I started at one point and I was going forward and back, and then I would go I would do one earlier and one later. And so I kind of was at the point where if I went back more, you'd be learning things about a character you have not been introduced to yet. And if I go forward, it's just kind of the stories were kind of over. So I was like, that seems like a good stopping point for that. So I'm going to start anew. This might be just a one-off. And I didn't look at the charts. It didn't occur to me. My dad just left, and I'm I'm going to start recording when he leaves. So it didn't even occur to me to look up the charts before. I just searched them right now before starting to film. And then my mic was messed up again, so we got to fix that. So I just looked them up. I haven't looked at them yet. And then I have the synastry, so my chart with the what transits would have been happening at this time. But basically, yeah, this is just a story of things the last time, basically my mom got mad at me, and it was just the last straw, and I was like, this is I can't I can't live this way anymore. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna skip over the names and stuff, and then I kind of want to put in a picture of what I'm reading for you so that you can read along if you want. And then I have to figure out how I'm gonna block the names, because I was using Post-its, but I'm writing way too small for that to be okay. And this is really embarrassing, just the way that it's starting out. I'm so glad that I've healed and moved on from this situation. But okay, so this I'm reading this is the last entry from this journal, and then I'm gonna start. I just wanted to say I'm working on a James A. Castor video. I want to rectify his birth chart, because we have his birth chart, but no, we don't know what time he was born, so I want to figure out his rising sign. That was just on top of this, so I needed to get it out of the way. And then this is the first entry of the next journal, because I was still upset about this situation. Look at my writing in there. Anyway, I was still really upset about the situation and started a new journal, and I was like, I need to talk about this again. So we're going to be reading both of those, because I mentioned it on my daily vlog thing, and so I just wanted to read these. And then I do have my Cats Rule the Earth tarot thing, because I don't have anything. Usually I read something at the beginning. I picked up a book, and I was skimming through it for something that I remembered, but I was I couldn't find it, so I was I'm just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna start. So the first entry is from Sunday, June 10th, 2018 at 10:35 p.m. I'm so embarrassed, by the way I started this. I said, so the other day, And then in parentheses, Friday, aka the 1-year anniversary of the last time I saw Orange, but that's not important now. Green asked me if I wanted to go to Dyke Day, and I didn't know what it was, but I said yes. And it turned out to be like a big picnic in a park by Dodger Stadium for Pride weekend, and it was a lot of fun. Purple went too, and we saw Brown and her girlfriend, and Purple, oh, I already said Purple, and Pink, and then I put their Twitter handle, and we had sangria, and green and food. We saw a lot. I already used the color green, but this is a different green, if you know what I mean. We saw a lot of dogs, and it was just a lot of fun, and we talked about work crushes and stuff. And then Green, Purple, and I went to Purple's place, and she talked about how her and Pink, no, I used Pink, sorry, Purple, I should have planned this before. I thought I only used each name once, so I'm like, I'll just do that. Okay, we went to Purple's place, and she talked about how her and Blue broke up. Then on the ride back, Green and I were talking about depression, and I asked how to see a therapist, and they said you just need insurance, and then call the Department of Mental Health, and they'll make an appointment for like 3 weeks out. So I just need a medical card and the courage to call. Anyway, so I got home, and I have a headache, so I tried to eat something and go to sleep. I woke up and saw a text from my dad saying, do you want to go to Crazy Otto's breakfast at this place at about 9 a.m.? And I wrote back, sure. And I heard him say in the living room to my mom, she said, sure. So I set an alarm, and when I got up, I asked my mom, are we going to breakfast? And she said, I guess. I wasn't included in the text where you guys planned this, even though it includes me. So I was already annoyed, and then I got ready, and I was sitting on the couch waiting for her. And she kept saying shit like, it's really cool that you can text dad back and not me. I remembered she sent, do you see any smoke/fire? I can smell smoke. And I read it while I was in the car with Green, and I didn't see anything, so I didn't answer. So she kept saying things like that, and I was finally like, okay, I don't want to go to breakfast if you're going to be mad. And I started crying, and as I was saying that, and I walked to my room, and she was like, just come on. And I said no, and she was like, can't you be an adult? Because apparently being an adult just means being passive aggressive as hell. And then she left, and I heard the car start, and then heard her come back in and yell, your dad paid for you to go. I used the wrong your. I put YOU''RE. How embarrassing. Your dad paid for you to go. And then I felt guilty not going, so I went, and I was really emotional, okay, in my defense. And I obviously know the difference now, so okay. Your dad paid for you to go, and then I felt guilty not going, so I went, and I was still crying and everything, so I just sat in silence, and after a few minutes, she was like, no sorry mom or anything, huh? No sorry mom or anything, huh? I don't know how to, no sorry mom? Nothing? Which obviously I didn't answer because it's a trap. If I apologize after that, I get, you're not sorry, you're just mad I'm yelling at you or whatever. And then in parentheses it says, I forgot when I got in the car, she said, with all this stuff I do for you guys, I don't deserve for you to treat me like crap or something. And like, I didn't say literally, and like, I didn't answer one text. Anyway, so I didn't say anything, but I wanted to say, I'm not sorry you're overreacting, but obviously I can't say that. So we're stuck in traffic for a long time, and I'm trying not to cry more, while we're passing by where there was a fire. And she's like, and there was a fire right here, so I don't know how you didn't notice anything. And we eventually get to the breakfast, and I think she texted my dad that we were there, and we got food, which they only had eggs, bacon, and hash browns, so I literally went through all of this for some scrambled eggs. Then my dad comes over and says, did I miss a text? And my mom said, apparently my texts don't matter. It seems like you guys have me on block, which I think is a weird thing to say, on block. And then my dad noticed I was upset, and he was like, what, no smile? And my mom was like, no, she's mad because I called her out on something, and now she's pissed. She said some things, not something. And I couldn't believe that she read the situation so wrong. I wasn't pissed. I was literally crying. I was frustrated because it feels like nothing is ever good enough for her. But not answering one text is the end of the world. We tried doing something nice, like get her an iPod for Mother's Day, and we tried to charge it so that she can start using it right away. And she gets mad and refuses to use it for years. And I can't really remember a more recent time when I thought of doing something nice for her just because I wanted to. It's always been out of trying to avoid her yelling at me. Like, I'll pause shows for her, not because I know she likes it and I want to wait for her to be nice, but because I know she'll get mad at me if I don't. So anyway, she told my dad I was pissed, and I started crying again. And my dad hugged me, and she was like, sure, when she cries, she immediately gets a hug. And I couldn't be comforted by my dad while I was crying because my mom would be jealous and it would make everything worse. So I ended up driving home while I was crying and decided to pick up the mid shift at work so I wouldn't have to be at home all day. And I kept thinking about how my dad has been drunk for most of my life and how he's sober, and now he's sober, and I actually enjoy spending time with him, and I can't have a close relationship with him without my mom getting mad at me for it. Also, while I was crying and driving home, I thought I wish I could talk to Orange about this, and I missed him, and it went away pretty fast, but still. So the other night when I was researching BPD, I ordered a book one of the websites recommended called Love Me, Don't Leave Me, Overcoming Fear of Abandonment and Building Lasting Loving Relationships. I'm only a few pages in, and I already read something that really made me stop and think. They recommended writing in a journal as you read it, which I think is a good idea because while I write about things that happen, it gives me some time to really reflect on it. And it's like perfect timing too because this is the last page of this one, and now I can end the orange notebook and move on to the BPD abandonment issue. One of those topics overlap, but still it's symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture of me moving on into a new phase of life, and then it's blank. And side note, this was my old like French and Italian notebook, so I used to just like copy down. That's like, there's the French. So yeah, just like fun stuff. And then I would do like blue for the boy words and the red for the girl words. Yeah. Fun stuff. Okay, so anyway, the next entry, I didn't time this one. I wasn't an astrology girly. So actually let's talk about the chart first because I don't want to like mix up details. Although it's like virtually the same chart. So the first one, since I do have the time, I'll just give you the details for this one, and then the other one we'll assume is like mostly the same. So we have Capricorn rising. Sun is in Gemini and it's in the 6th house. Mercury's there too. So Mercury rules Gemini, so it's pretty good. Venus is in Cancer in the 7th house. Venus and the 7th house are both about relationships, and I started talking about it wasn't a real relationship, but it was like this guy that like my friend kept telling me he liked me and that we'd be really cute together, and eventually I started like believing it and like fantasizing like we were gonna get married and stuff, and then like it didn't happen that way. And it was really heartbreaking. Like I really like expected that to work out. Yeah, so I was like devastated by that, and I wrote like this whole journal. Like I'm embarrassed that I started talking about it there. So this was like French and Italian, right? And then like not that far in, like we still have all of this. That's all journal. I'm talking about something else for like the first entry, but the second entry is like the story of that guy. And like the whole journal, like when I flip through it, it's like I still miss Orange. I'm still thinking about Orange. It's so sad. Anyway, yeah, and there were also, it was like Dyke Day. It was I was talking about a girl that I had a crush on, like to my friends. Okay, so yeah, let's keep going through the chart just because like I'm looking at it and you still don't know. Well, I might have put it on the screen now that I can edit videos. How exciting. So it's Capricorn rising. We have Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, in Capricorn, which is, it makes it the first house the way that I look at it. But if you don't use whole sign houses, a lot of people would consider that Saturn to be in probably the 12th house. 12th house versus first house is like, the first house is the physical body and like your personality. People often describe it as like the mask that you wear when you like, I think I've heard it like if someone described like there was a girl one time, I was in my biology class in high school, and this girl told me, she sat next to me, she was like a transfer student, and she like, I had an empty seat next to me, so she was like assigned there, and we like started getting to know each other, and after a while she told me like, I thought you were a bitch when I first met you. So like that to me is like, the first house is like how you come across to other people. But then it's also like who you are. It's not like necessarily the mask. And I think maybe like the 10th house would be more of a mask than the first house. But anyway, yeah, the first house is just like physical body. I didn't really talk about. Oh, I had like a really bad headache. So like Saturn and Pluto both in the sign, a sign that Saturn rules, and Mars in the other in Aquarius, which you didn't know that yet. So Saturn and Pluto are both in Capricorn. The rising sign is Capricorn. Yeah, we've got Mars in Aquarius. We've got Neptune in Pisces. We've got Chiron in Aries. We've got Moon exalted in Taurus at 14 degrees, which is like exactly opposite Jupiter in Scorpio. But it's like 1450. Jupiter is retrograde, so there's still, well, the moon already passed the aspect. Anyway, and Uranus is also in Taurus. It's only at 1 degree, so it's like early Uranus in Taurus. As I said, Sun and Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Cancer, North Node in Leo. And then Jupiter is conjunct the midheaven in Scorpio. It's they're pretty close. Jupiter's retrograde, but it's like 14 degrees to 17 degrees for the midheaven, so it's like it's pretty close there. There's some like Mars and Saturn are semi-sextile, and then Pluto and the Sun are quintile, I think, in conjunct from 20 Capricorn to 20 Gemini. It's like 150, no, 100, oh my god, it should be 170 degrees? I don't remember. No, 150, yeah, because it's minus 30 for the sign, so it's 150 degrees. Yeah, moon in the 5th house is like fun. Like the 5th house is fun and games and stuff, and like I was just having like a good time with my friends in Taurus, moon exalted in Taurus. We were drinking and like I said, smoking. We were having a good time. My dad made steak. Steak is like from a cow, which is like a bull, Venus, Taurus. And then like my mom, for like Jupiter in Scorpio, opposite moon in Taurus, is just like, yeah, like you're having a good time, and then like your authority figure is like getting mad at you about it, like and like spiraling, like blowing things way out of proportion. It was like one missed text, right? And then it became like a whole, it wasn't a missed, I did decide, I was like, I don't want to answer this, but like I decided because like my friend was sitting right there talking to me, and I was like, I'm here with her, I'm gonna just, enjoy the moment and like not worry about what my mom's gonna get mad at my response or like whatever. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna get into the next, hold on, let me just like glance through it one more time, see if there's any like keywords that jump out at me. My dad, let's see, parents are like 4th house. Okay, so like Chiron in the 4th house. Chiron is the wounded healer, so he's like the deepest wound, and then also how we heal. So like having like a dad who's an alcoholic and then who like gets sober, and then we can like build our relationship, is kind of like Chiron Aries in the 4th house to me. He is an Aries, and then like both of my parents have a lot of Scorpio placements, so when I was saying like Jupiter in Scorpio is like them, like my mom getting mad at me, it's like I think she definitely has some Scorpio placements. So I'm like, that was like triggering something for her, like the Jupiter was going through her house is somewhere, and she's a Pisces, and there's like Neptune going through Pisces, so like she was drinking a lot too. My dad was sober at this point, but she still wasn't. That's not really necessarily relevant. Anyway, okay. That's enough of that. See, I feel like the mic is just amplifying every time I like even touch the desk. If I like accidentally bump my knee on, like, it's just gonna make it worse quality for the audio, I think. But let me know what you think. Anyway, the next one's June 11th, so basically the moon is a little bit further along in Taurus at this point, not opposing Jupiter anymore. It's actually trine Pluto at 12 p.m. I think this was probably before 12 p.m. I'm not sure though. So let me just read it and we'll see. Okay, so I was going to use this journal to go with my reading of Love Me, Don't Leave Me, like I was talking about the last entry. Overcoming Fear of Abandonment and Building Lasting Relationships by Michelle Skeen, but I should probably keep that separate from my journal, and I really want to talk about my mom. So long story short, because I already wrote about this in my other journal, but one, my mom texted me when I was hanging out with my friends and I didn't answer. And two, my dad texted me and it didn't include her, even though she was in the same room as him. And he asked if I wanted to go to an AA breakfast the next day, so I said sure. The next day, she made a bunch of passive-aggressive comments about it, and I said I didn't want to go to breakfast, and I started crying, but she guilt-tripped me into going, and when we got there, she kept making those comments, and I started crying again, and my dad tried to comfort me, but I thought that would make it worse, so I stopped him and went home by myself. I picked up a shift at work, so I wouldn't have to see her when she got home. So yesterday I wrote about how it feels like nothing we try to do for her is enough. So I stopped trying out of kindness and started trying to avoid getting yelled at. I also said how I finally enjoy spending time with my dad since he got sober and we have a good relationship, but for some reason it makes my mom jealous. So I've been pushing him away or avoiding doing certain things with him because she'll get mad that she's left out. Like, he would, like if he was going to the grocery store, he'd be like, do you want to come with me? And if I said yes, it's like, she'd be like, oh, when I went to the grocery store, you don't want to come with me? It's like, yeah, because you, like, are angry all the time. Anyway, so yeah, she felt left out. Also, yesterday, as we were driving to breakfast, she said, no, sorry, or anything, huh? And if I apologize after that, it's, you're not sorry, you just want me to stop yelling at you, or something, plus I wasn't sorry, so I didn't say anything. Then when my dad asked what was wrong, she said, I called her out on some stuff and now she's pissed. And tonight I got home from work. I think she said bullshit. I called her out on some bullshit. Anyway, I don't know why I censored myself, and tonight I got home from work and she sat on the couch and she walked in and was walking around a little and eventually she sarcastically said, hey, Lauren. And I was like, hey, oh, Julia. My name is juli.a.strology. And I was like, hey. And she was like, really? Fuck. And I don't know, I've been thinking about that, like, she's in the wrong here and I'm allowed to be upset with her. Like, she's definitely overreacting and making this a bigger deal than it is. Plus, she keeps bringing up the text where we planned this breakfast together without including her when it was literally planned already. Like, it was a fundraiser. Like, I had no idea that it was even going on. It was planned already without me needing to contribute anything. It's not like he texted me and was like, hey, when and where do you want to go to breakfast? And, like, mom wasn't included. It was like, hey, do you want to go to this thing that's already planned, that the details are already set? And she's in there. I can hear them from my room talking about it. And I was just like, this is so unnecessary to be this upset about this. Okay, and my dad just asked if I wanted to go, and she wasn't included because he told her in person. And she's mad at me, even though I'm not the one who sent the text in the first place. Also, even if she was right, like, I'm not the one who sent the text. Like, if you're going to be this upset with somebody, be mad at the person who sent the text without... I can't control it after he sent the text. I can't then add you to the text. Okay. And I started thinking about all the times she's yelled at me, or, like, this time made a bunch of passive-aggressive comments. She never listens to my side or gives me a chance to explain myself. This time she asks, why didn't you answer my text? And I said, I didn't see it for a while, and she immediately, like, laughed it away, and then said, I didn't really notice any smoke, and so I didn't know what to do, or what to say, because, okay, I'm trying to go too fast. I didn't notice any smoke, and so I didn't know what to say, because her text was asking if I saw or smelled smoke, but she wasn't really asking why I didn't answer, because she wanted my side of the story. She just wanted me to she just wanted more fuel for her anger. And every time she's mad at someone, she does the same thing. When I lost $40 she gave me, but I lied and said I still had it so she wouldn't have to give me more money, she grounded me for a week. She never cared that I did it because I didn't want her to have to give me more money. She already gave me some and I lost it, so I was going to deal with the consequences for my actions, but she never cared to hear what I had to say. And every time she's mad, she always says, you're not even going to say sorry, or I said that, you're not even going to say sorry thing. But, like, why would I just suddenly know how to apologize when to someone when she's never apologized to me? How am I just supposed to know? Like, I should say sorry if I hurt somebody when she, like, hurts my feelings all the time, and has she ever apologized to me? How would I know that that's even a thing? I literally can't think of a single time she's ever apologized to me for anything, and I never thought I had the right to be mad at her for any of this because her yelling always made me feel so bad, and I thought I deserved it for doing something bad, but I've never even done anything really bad. A lot of times when she's mad at me, it's because we tried to do something nice for her. Like, on vacation, we would try to let her sleep in and get breakfast, and she'd get mad. We got her... Okay, so I didn't go into more detail on that, because I know, but the thing is, we would go to, like, hotels, and, like, they'd have breakfast. My sister and my dad were, like, very early risers. They wake up. So they'd both be up. They'd want to go get breakfast. I like to sleep in, and my mom would also be, like, still asleep when they left, and so they're, like... They would go get breakfast and let her sleep. Sometimes I would wake up and go with them. Sometimes I wouldn't, but the thing, like, we would go, and then she'd come back and be like, why didn't you wake me up for breakfast? And then so we'd wake her up for breakfast the next time, and then she'd be like, why'd you wake me up? I want to sleep in. And so it's like, every morning it's this, like, do we wake her up, or do we, because either way it's going to be wrong. If we wake her up, she's going to want to sleep in. If we don't wake her up, she's going to be like, why didn't you wake me up? So it's just like this psychological mind games every time we go on vacation. Like, we can't ever enjoy it, you know? When we got her an iPod for Mother's Day and charged it for her so she could use it right away, she got mad and refused to use it for years. She never apologized for overreacting for that or for wasting the money Dad spent on that. She got me to go to breakfast yesterday by saying my dad paid for me to go, but how much money does she let him waste for her? And another time she got mad at me for not going to a thing for band because I was going with my friends, let's call them Blue and Black, and they decided they didn't want to go, and I didn't really have a choice because they were my ride, so I didn't go. And my mom was like, why didn't you just tell me you didn't want to go? When have I ever made you do something you didn't want to do? And, like, okay, again, interjecting here, there was one time we had this, like, another thing for band that, like, it was like a Memorial Day parade or something, like, not super important. Like, I had really bad period cramps and I didn't want to do it, and I was like, I remember saying that, I was like, I don't want to do it, I have cramps. And she's like, okay, you think, what if I just said, oh, I don't want to, like, drive you around because I have cramps, like, I can't just say, I don't want to do this because I have period cramps, like, and, like, made me basically, I don't remember if I actually had to do it, but she, like, yelled at me about saying I didn't want to do it because I had cramps. So, like, that's one example of a time she tried to make me do something I didn't, not even that I didn't want to do, but I didn't feel, like, healthy enough or, like, physically up for doing. Anyway, so when have I ever made you do something you didn't want to do? And she does this all the time, especially with my older brother. If they start arguing on the way to a place we're going, she's like, I don't even want to go if you're going to act like this. With Dad, and if you're gonna be like this, get out of the car and walk home, to my brother. And so, like, in the first scenario, my dad's driving and they, like, start fighting, and we're, like, going down the hill, still, like, close to our house, and she's like, I don't even want to go, and, like, the expectation is that, like, he's gonna turn around and drive her back home. But if it's, like, her driving and my brother's in the car and they're arguing, she's like, the thing is, she's like, get out and walk home because I don't want you to go with this. Like, so if it's her that doesn't, like, want to go, then we have to drive her back. But if it's, like, someone else that she doesn't want going, then they have to get out and walk. I tried doing that and saying I didn't want to go to breakfast if she was going to be mad at me the whole time. And she said she was a little mad, but I don't remember exactly what she said next, but it's fine, basically. And then she said, can you act like an adult? Which apparently she told my aunt that I can't because she told me Aunt Blank told her that I need to start adulting, which made me mad because, one, it's proof they were talking shit behind my back, and two, I already lived on my own for 5 years during college. I worked and paid my own rent. I didn't ask for money after my second year. So, like, my freshman year, I don't think I asked them for money. My sophomore year, I did ask for a little bit, and then I got a job, and then, like, after that, I don't think I asked them for money again. So, like, most of the time I was away at college, I was on my own, but I needed to start adulting, obviously. So I paid my own rent. I didn't ask for money after my second year. My dad took money that I was supposed to use to get, so he could pay bills. So yeah, like, my grandma set up this thing so, like, all of her grandkids would get, like, $10,000 a year, to go to college. And my dad took that and used it to pay bills. So I was supposed to get money from like my grandma to go to college that I didn't get. Well, I ended up getting some of it back through like financial aid. But yeah, it was like, I shouldn't have even been working. And then they're like my dad, the adult of the family, took money that I was supposed to get and used it to pay bills because he was irresponsible and spent too much money on alcohol. And I helped, and I'm the one who needs to start adulting. So I didn't ask for money for anything, and I'm working so often, I'm barely home for dinner. And it's driving me crazy that she's so thick. She complains about how dad used to be when he was drinking all the time, and she can't see that she's not easy to deal with when she's drinking either. And she's hiding she would smoke weed. She's hiding her smoking from us for some reason. But yeah, I realized for the first time that she's done things that a reasonable person would be mad about, and another reasonable person would apologize for. And I've never really heard her apologize to anyone, so I think she always just gets away with things by playing the victim until the other person feels bad and apologizes. I always just hope she gets over her anger after a day or two and try to act normally, but fixing the thing she was mad about without ever wondering if I'm over it. I don't know what I meant by that. One morning I went to work and she texted me saying, "You need to tell me when and where you take my car. No wonder I'm not adulting yet," in parentheses. Which I thought was ridiculous because it was obvious that I was going to work. I was wearing my work uniform. I went to work it was like Tuesday morning, and I worked the opening the lunch shift every Tuesday morning, and I always took it wasn't like we shared a car. Like, she had her own car that she would drive, and then she would let me how magnanimous of her, let me use the car that was it her dad? Yeah, so, okay, her mom was married and then divorced and then married, living with a boyfriend, kind of. So when her dad died, we got his car, and when the boyfriend died, we also got his car. So we had, two extra cars that were from, her mom's boy, one of them was her dad, one of them, and there's, some speculation that there was cheating. Anyway, but I don't think for her, I think she's said that she looks like her dad, so I don't think, yeah, so we got a car from her dad and then some other man that we shouldn't have even got, and she's telling me I need to tell her when and where I'm taking her car, which I thought was ridiculous because it was obvious that I was going to work. So I avoided her for a few days and texted her whenever I took the car, and I was really upset. I really wanted to passive aggressively be text her a picture of it and this is the spot that I parked in, this is where I took it, this is just text her way too much information that she would regret asking me to text her. I was I'm just gonna be mature. I was really upset. She was overreacting to something, and I felt like she was treating me like a child, and it's not like I ever do anything really bad. And compared to my older brother, I'm an angel. I was literally at work. I took her car to go to work. And afterwards she was acting normal, so I acted normal, but I'm still upset about it. And when she's mad, I always try to go to bed without having to kiss her goodnight because I think she's mad, but really I don't want to do it because I'm mad at her and I don't want to touch her. I don't think she deserves my guilt or my trying not to make her mad anymore, since nothing is ever good enough. She literally made me cry twice in the span of an hour, and then made me feel worse when my dad tried to comfort me. I'm her daughter. She shouldn't want me to feel like that. She shouldn't be able to see me cry twice in an hour, both times because of her, and continue to make it worse. Well, that's all I have to say on that subject for now. And then, yeah, I was talking about, some of my coworkers came in, together, which, we kept, trying to schedule a hangout for all of us, and then it kept, not happening, because we were all, one of us was working every day, obviously, because we're, the hosts group chat, and there needs to be a host on every day, so it just, never worked out, and then two of them came in while I was working, and that kind of, hurt my feelings. Yeah, so I was they can make plans without me, but whatever. And then it just made the situation kind of worse. But luckily I had the abandonment issues book to go through. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be the same chart, but that's just a little bit more information. Let's see. And I think, okay, I've talked a little bit on this channel about the 4th house and the 10th house, and there's some debate about which one's the mother and which one's the father. And then I think the day after I posted a video that, talking about maybe Jeanette McCurdy's birth chart, because there's a lot of like mother stuff that I talk about her 10th house a lot. And then I was watching another like the astrology podcast video with Chris Brennan, and he was saying that like he the way that he sees it anyway, his interpretation is that like the ancients would have considered like both of the parents to be in the 4th house, and then like as time went on it like, but they only said father, they didn't say like parents, they would say father, and then but they meant parents, I guess, I don't know. And then as time went on it became like the 4th house and like the 10th house being the 7th from the 4th as like the relationship, like your father's partner would be the 10th house, which would be the mother. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, there's a debate on it, so like I'm not gonna have the final say anyway. I do like the idea of like the 10th house. Like to me it made sense more that the 10th house would be the father and then the 4th house would be the mother, because like 10th house would be like the career and like 4th house is home, and like in the like nuclear family that like obviously this isn't like a reality for most people because of the economy. It's like you need two working people to like be able to afford to live. So but like traditionally you don't have the father working like away from home and then the mother the homemaker. So like to me it was like that would make more sense. But yeah, just I guess it just depends on like the chart that I'm looking at. Because when I was looking at Jeanette McCurdy's, I was like, yeah, 10th house mother, that makes a lot of sense. But then I was doing like John Paul Brammer's birth chart, and there's a little bit about his parents and like the little acknowledgements, I think, or like, yeah, just near the end. And I was looking at that and I was thinking like that, I could see that being like 10th house father, 4th house mother, like I think. And then, yeah, like this one, I'm just like, I could see, yeah, who, this is me. Okay, I was thinking about James A. Caster for a second. I've been watching so many James A. Caster videos. It's just like, yeah, he's talked about his parents before. Chiron in the, no, okay, so Chiron in the 4th house. I was talking about like my relationship with my father and like how it's like repairing, but it's still like not great because my mom is like jealous. So yeah, there's a lot of like squares here. We've got like Venus square Uranus. Venus opposite Pluto. That's Venus Pluto aspects are pretty tough. It's not super tight. It's like 6 degrees off, but yeah, Venus Pluto. I could see like I was so upset about that boy. He just left like out of nowhere, kind of. It was like it very much triggered my abandonment issues. So I could see that being like the Venus opposite Pluto thing. Anyway, that's kind of like all I have to say about that. I'm trying to think the Sun Mercury thing, because like Mercury rules Gemini and Sun and Mercury both in Gemini. I like this is the first time I'd kind of like put a lot of those things into words, like my mom's never apologized to me, and she's done things that like a reasonable person would be upset by, and that another reasonable person would apologize for doing. Like anytime I told my coworkers stories about her, they're like, we gotta get you out of there. Like I don't think, like sometimes it still like occurs to me, like I read a book, I can't remember what it was called, but it was about like inherited trauma and stuff. Okay, so I've got 2 cards. Anyway, the High Priestess and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I'm just gonna take this one. I don't think this book has reversals. I literally forgot what I was just talking about. The High Priestess. That's really early. Okay. Oh, it does have reverse meaning, so I'll read the reverse meaning for that. Did I just like shuffle it back in? It was the Knight of Pentacles, right? Yeah, and I just put it right back in. Okay, so the High Priestess, inspiration, intuition, and secrets. Foresight, perception, discovery, inner voice, silence. I don't know why they have like 2 sets of keywords. That's interesting. It's like one going right under here, And then another, like, they have it for all of them. It's an odd choice. Okay, the High Priestess is a dignified figure of learning and wisdom. This is someone who is highly intuitive and able to divine hidden truths, epitomizing the subtle power of the feminine. When this card appears in a spread, it may represent a psychic revelation that comes through a dream, some sense of higher power in your life, or intense work on your spiritual self. It may be that a new understanding illuminates your life purpose, or soon will do. This card possesses a quiet energy, suggesting a period of retreat from the world is needed in order to find your inner voice. The High Priestess is a passive, responsive force rather than a dynamic one. The message of this card is that it is sometimes better to sit, watch, learn, and wait for the inner voice to speak before responding to events, rather than trying to direct them. Okay, I'm hearing a bit of static. The Knight of Pentacles is just gonna be right here, reversed. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's not that long, but okay. Well-worn methods have their place, but a more imaginative approach may be required. A stubborn or passive-aggressive person could impede your efforts. Okay. It did occur to me as I was reading that I didn't talk about the synastry, or the transits that I was going through at the time. So basically just like the house placements. So it was Saturn and Pluto in my 12th house, which is the house of like mental health. I think of it as like the 6th house is like physical illnesses or like physical health problems. And then the 12th house is like mental illness, kind of. That's not like a super strict, necessarily, like I would say any illness that like keeps you isolated from, like if you're bedridden, that would be like a 12th house illness, even if it's like physical. But anyway, so it's like a very mental health thing. I was like tackling my abandonment issues, a lot of retrogrades. I've got Uranus, Neptune conjunct, and they're both retrograde in the 12th house already, and then this has Saturn and Pluto conjunct my Neptune, by the way, retrograde, and Saturn also retrograde, all in my 12th house. Mars in the 1st house. I was like I was pretty angry. I was taking some action, just deciding like I can't live this way anymore, and even if it meant like, because it took me almost like a few more months, like 7 months maybe, to move out. But yeah, I was like done. I was like, I can't live this way anymore. And like, yeah, just really angry. Got the Jupiter midheaven conjunction in my 11th house. So the fact that I'm like talking about it on the internet and like telling strangers who are like probably also interested in astrology is kind of like 11th housey to me. Yeah, okay, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to like get another video out because it's been a while, and it's probably gonna be a longer while because I still have not finished this bad boy. Okay, I accidentally paused my mic, but we're back. So yeah, I haven't finished this yet. I haven't even really started this. I'm like, if you can see, that is not very good. But I didn't think there was going to be a lot about his life in here. I was trying to find more information about like his actual life, because his first stand-up comedy special is like very loosely based on he like pretends to be an undercover cop, and then yeah, so it's like there's information there, like he's like, my goddamn wife left me, and like he was going through a breakup, but like it's, you know, it's not really like, I can't be like, well, on June 17th, whatever, it's 2017, because it's like kind of fake. So I was figuring that was going to be mostly like album recommendations, and like I was just watching an interview of him, and he said that like he put a lot of about his own life in there so that it would make sense like why he was recommending each album. So now I gotta go through and read that. And I was skimming it, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot in here. So okay, I'm excited because this book, I swear, okay, there's a part of it. This might be the thing that I read because, okay, so he's talking about juggling. He's supposed to juggle for a school play. This is out of order from my usual format, but it all works out. Okay. So he asked his dad if he can help him learn to juggle. So I did what any boy who's bitten off more than he can chew does. I went home and asked my father for help. Dad, can you juggle? I asked, and he confidently replied, yes. Yes, I can, because as it turns out, I'm not the only liar in the family. The next morning, I went out and bought a set of juggling balls with my pocket money and took them home to my father. He opened the box, looked at the 3 balls inside, picked one up, and announced, right, we don't need this one, and threw it over his shoulder. Alarm bells should have started to ring at this point, but I was 7 years old, and this man was the wisest person I'd ever met, so I assumed he knew what he was doing. That was clearly just the spare ball, which makes total sense. I'm going to be throwing these balls all over the place. It's only a matter of time before I lose one of them, and so a spare ball is almost certainly essential. It's so funny. I'm cracking up as I read this out loud, and even just the other one, I was skimming it today and there was part of it was making me crack up. So really excited to get this video done. But yeah, it's probably going to be a while. So I just wanted to do one of these classic throwbacks to me reading my journal. So yeah, get back into the swing of things, figure out how to edit again, because just setting up the mic for this was like, and then I got it and then I was checking, it was a little staticky, so I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and then I had to start all over. So thanks for sticking with me through this, and look forward to more videos. I can't tell you to look forward to things. Subscribe if you're looking forward to those videos. I only described one. I also want to do something for Olivia Rodrigo. I was listening to her music and looking at her chart, and I was like, wow, there's so much that I could say about that. So I want to do a video like that, and just all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that I want to do. So if you're interested in sticking around, you can do that. If you were just here for this video for some reason, it's kind of random. If you're just here for the series of me reading my journals, that makes a little more sense. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, I'm gonna end this here because I'm just rambling now. Thanks for watching. Bye. If you want a reading, email me. Okay, bye. And she kept saying shit like, it's really cool that you can text dad back and not me. I didn't say in this, on the way to the Dyke Day, my mom texted me and I didn't answer her. We'll get to that in the other, when we get to the other journal, I think. It might come up here. Anyway, just for some context. It's really cool that you can text your dad back and not me. Oh yeah, I got into it right away. Don't worry.